This is a tutorial for demonstrating the two-colour alternating invisible cast-on for double knitting flat. There are lots of tutorials out there that show how to do this, but many of them require you to purl the first row through the back loop or something like that in order to stop ending up with twisted stitches. This method eliminates that completely. First thing to do is to tie a slip knot. So I have my two strands of yarn and I'm going to tie them both together into one slip knot by going down through and up with my needle, and I have a slip knot on the needle. We're going to ignore that. That's not going to form part of our stitch count. The stitches are all going to be made by the movements we're just about to do. So I want to be holding the working ends of the yarn attached to the ball in my little finger and ring finger there, and with my thumb and forefinger I'm going to go in between those two strands and spread them apart. Now it's important to notice which colour you have over your finger and which colour you have over your thumb. If you have a colour A, for example, which is going to be the main colour for your facing side fabric, then that's the one you want to have over your finger, and the other one will go over your thumb. So how to get there again? I grab the two strands of yarn with my lower fingers, come in between them with my thumb and forefinger and spread them out, and we're ready to go. Holding the slip knot nice and securely so nothing moves around too much, this is the sequence of movements. Down the front and up the centre, down the back and up the front. That already gives us one blue loop over the needle. We go down the back and up the front, down the centre and up the back, and that gives us one stitch of each colour for the pair. That's our first pair worked there. Make that nice and snug because it gets a little bit loose and sloppy otherwise, and continue exactly the same as you just did. Down the front, up the centre, down the back, up the front, down the back, up the front, down the centre, up the back. And snug, 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 and there we have another pair of stitches. Sometimes you need to retension, so you've got exactly control of what you want to be working on. There we go again. Down the front, up the centre, down the back, up the front, down the back, up the front, up the front, down the centre, and up the back. That's our third pair of stitches. Let's do that again. Down the front, up the centre, down the back, up the front, down the back, up the front, down the centre, up the back. Now that seems like a complicated sequence of steps to take, but actually you can simplify it into one nice and fluid movement just like this. You pick up the white, go around both, pick up the blue. It's exactly the same, it's just thinking about it in a slightly different way. Pick up the white from the front, go round and under both, round and under both, go down the centre and pick up the blue. There we are. Break it down again, down the front, up the centre, down the back, up the front, down the back, up the front, down the centre and up the back. So you continue working across until you've got exactly the right number of pairs of stitches for your scarf or your pot holder or whatever it is you're making, and I'll join you in a moment. So here we are. I've now cast on 16 pairs of stitches, and we've also got the slip knot still there at the beginning of the row. In order to continue double knitting in the normal way, what I need to do is just secure these last two stitches that we've created. It's a little bit of an unstable cast on until it's been knitted into, so I'm going to give them an extra little twist and hold on to the lower yarn there before I do the turn. That just gives us something to work on and makes this last stitch not quite so loose and floppy. Next thing to do, of course, is to start knitting. Do you remember I said that we were going to have the blue yarn as our main colour on the facing side? Well, actually we're working now on the reverse side, so obviously the colours are also reversed, so we've now got the white yarn ready to go with the knit stitches, and that's exactly what we're going to do. I knit that first stitch, slip it off the needle, bring the yarn towards me. I obviously want to bring both yarns towards me, so from the back I grab the blue yarn, bring that one also through the gap between the needles, and get ready to purl it as you normally would. If you're a continental knitter, you can knit it continental. If you're a English knitter, go English. I'm one of each when it comes to double knitting, so I'm now going to take my yarns to the back and set up ready for how I like to do my double knitting, which is one yarn in both hands. And that's all there is to it. You continue knitting in the way that you normally are accustomed to doing, knitting and purling as the stitches are presented to you, all the way along until you reach the end of the row. As you can see, I've gone quite a lot further now with this swatch. I just wanted to show you what it looks like and what it is we've been working towards. Here is the cast on edge. There's absolutely no knots, there's no colour bleed, it's just one line of stitches becoming another line of stitches in the opposite colour. It's also fantastically stretchy with no tension there at all. It works really, really nicely. Why would you ever want to do anything else? One word of warning though, when you are knitting that first row off from the cast on edge, be sure to make sure that each stitch is knitted nice and tightly. At the end of each, when you slip the stitch off the needle, just give each one a little extra tug, otherwise it will become quite sloppy and the end of your work might splay out a little bit. Other than that, you're good to go. There we have it, the alternating two-colour invisible cast on for double knitting.